Hey guys, welcome back to Beatz Sweets Farm. I get asked a lot how we got into farming and how we started our farm, Beatz Sweets Farm. So I thought I'd make a video answering those questions. I mostly get asked that when we do like our open farm days and people want to know the history and the background of how we got started. So I'm going to just do a YouTube video. Hopefully I can find a quiet spot in this farm because I got over here Peanut. He keeps making a bunch of noise, and then on this side the sheep keep making a bunch of noise. But I'm gonna take you around and talk to you guys about how we started, what animals we started with, and our experience with starting a farm from scratch. So we bought this property, I believe it was 4 years going on 5 years now, and we bought this property because we wanted a place where we can grow our own food for our own family. And at that point I started my own baking and jam business, and I was selling jams and baked goods like cupcakes and cookies in our local farmers markets. So that's how I really started off, being inspired by everything that has to do with homesteading and baking your own bread and stuff. And my dream at least was to grow our own fruits and veggies to make my own pickles and jams that I was selling in the farmers markets. Our goals and dreams have kind of changed ever since, because this property, we just bought it just like this, and we started growing our own veggies and herbs in our gardens and flowers. But you really need a lot of land and already established fruit trees and stuff like that to actually make your own preserves and jams with. So it's not something we really planned well for. 5 acres, you can do a lot on 5 acres, but if you have like so much variety going on like we do with the animals and the multiple gardens, it's not exactly enough to make all your products from. But that was our initial dream, was to make our own products from our own homegrown things. Now we have been able to do that. I've made jams with our own strawberries, with our own blueberries. I've added our own herbs into our own pickles. I've grown cucumbers for pickles. But it's just a lot of work, and sometimes it's a lot easier to just buy that stuff at the store. So that is the initial reason why we purchased our little homestead, and we were just inspired to raise our own meat and eggs and grow our own vegetables, and then grow enough to make products from. And I do make our soaps from sheep's milk, so I've always stuck to that. And then we've just used as much as we can. We can't use 100% homegrown stuff. It's just not realistic with such a small property and starting from scratch like this, but we do the best we can. And we started with chickens. I'm in the back right now. I'm gonna get to the front. We started with chickens. We bought 1 chicken at a farmer's market, and she had 4 chicks with her. So that was our first little group of chickens. We actually still have her somewhere around here. I'll let you guys know which one it is if I see her. She's our oldest chicken. She's been with us for the 4+ years that we've been here. So the property did come with this little rinky-dink chicken coop over here. It's just like a plywood. It's not very high quality or anything. It's in need of some TLC actually, but that's what we started with, and that's our little chicken coop. And then the second animal that we got was we got a rabbit. We got a male rabbit, and then eventually we got a female rabbit, and we got into breeding rabbits. And we used to have the Holland Lops. We had 2 other breeds, I can't remember right now. So now we have a lot less than that because I didn't like raising that many rabbits. Oh, here's the chicken. So the one in that hole right there, she's our very first little chicken. Okay, so then after rabbits, we got into quails. That didn't work out at first. We just now recently got quails again. But the first time we got quails, They all got eaten by snakes, or some of them escaped from the little area we had them in back then. We got ducks at some point after the rabbits. Then after we had all that, we had a male cow, a little bull, a bull calf. We got him on at some point in the winter. I know it was for my birthday. My sister bought him for me. And we were going to raise cows in our backyard. But it just wasn't enough space. We had the bull calf and all was good with him. But then we tried to get a female cow, and she was huge. And we were going to breed the female with the male and just use the female for milk. And we were eventually going to eat the bull. It just didn't work out. Our fence wasn't good in the backyard. And the female cow especially, kept escaping. And she was huge and we just couldn't handle her. She wasn't halter trained well or anything. It was just like an unsafe situation, and we decided to get rid of her, and that's how we ended up with the sheep. We traded the female cow for our sheep Chloe and Cookie, the white one in the back, and that was our first 2 sheep. So we traded the female cow for them, and then we eventually ate the bull calf when he was a little bit bigger. We butchered him. So we enjoy raising sheep a lot better than cows. Our experience with cows wasn't a good one, but the sheep are way more less maintenance. They don't eat all the grass like the cows do, and they can be kept in a lot smaller space. And they're obviously safer because they're smaller animals and they're not going to push you around like a cow does. And we still milk them and raise the babies for meat and milk. So we got into sheep. So after the sheep, the last animal that we got was pigs. We started off with some black mixed pigs. I don't remember the name of the breed, but we used those for meat. Then we got into the pink ones. I'm not too familiar with all the breed names of pigs, but it's the pink ones that people usually use for meat. Those were a little bit too big for our property. They were very destructive. So that's when we got into the smaller breed pigs. So we bought the black ones, the male ones. They're guinea hog mixes. And then the females, the female princess, we don't know what she is. She's a mixed breed, but we just know that they don't get very big. You've seen her in her other videos. Peanut's one of the babies. Yeah, so she's over there. We like the smaller pigs a lot better. They're less destructive. You could keep more of them in the small pens that we have. And we just feel more comfortable with something smaller, especially when it comes to butchering, because it's just a lot easier to do between me and my husband. We don't need a lot of help to pick up the pig, and because we do all the butchering ourselves. So we definitely prefer the smaller breeds. So pigs was probably the last thing that we got, as in like homestead, not pet related animals. Then we had a problem with predators messing with our sheep. So we got Aspen and Nova, which is our farm guard dogs. We do have 2 other dogs that live in the front, but they're more, they're not really working dogs. These are 2 working dogs. And the same breeder that we bought them from had the mini ponies. She breeds the mini ponies. And she happened to have these 2 senior ponies. I think they're about 21 years old each now. Rita and Pepper. So that's how we ended up with them. But we do keep the pigs for meat. We keep the sheep for meat and milk. We keep the chickens for eggs. We do raise some meat chickens a few times a year for meat. The ducks, I guess they're kind of ornamental animals too, because they don't lay too many eggs, but we do use their eggs for baking. And then the rabbits we keep for both pets and meat. We do butcher them sometimes. And the quails, we have not butchered any quails yet, but we are selling the quail eggs, so we keep those for both dual purpose meat and eggs. So the ponies are pets. The donkey, he came from a nearby farm. Where are you, Odie? He came from a farm 2 houses down. We bought him from about a year into living here and starting off with our animals and gardens. I started the Facebook page, Beatz Sweets Farm, on Facebook. A lot of people started asking me if they could come visit the animals, and it's not something we really did in the beginning, especially because I used to sell at the farmers markets and I was always busy on the weekends doing that. But we did decide to do a open farm day. I believe we started doing it like seasonally. So I would do like a spring open farm day, a fall open farm day, one right before Christmas so that people could come and purchase jams and candles and all that stuff for gifts. So we started doing that seasonally, and then it started getting a little bit too busy. Our property's pretty small and like the whole front yard is parking, but it would fill up way too much. Like on the Facebook events, we would get 1,000 to 1.5 thousand people interested in our event, and for being such a small farm, it was just a little too much. So I started doing them more often. I think I started doing them monthly on the weekends, and then we attempted to do every Saturday, but that didn't go well. It started off good at first, and then it slowly started declining and people coming, and it was just no longer worth it. Putting all the work of opening every single Saturday and not having too many people show up. So now, after, well, the coronavirus is still going on, but stuff started opening up a little bit. So what we did was, we're starting to do it bi-weekly now on Saturdays. So, and we're also controlling the crowd. So it has worked out a lot better that way. It doesn't cost anything to come into our farm, but we do have a ticketing system where people have to reserve their ticket. And right now we started off allowing 25 guests to enter. Now we're allowing 50, but all that is subject to change depending on what happens, because I know a lot more cases are opening up. But as for allowing visitors, that is what we're doing, and that's what's working out for us right now. I like controlling the crowd a lot better than just letting everybody come in as they please, because it's just a lot better. I can talk to people and tell them our story, and it's not so crazy and overcrowded like it was getting at one point before, when we were just allowing people to come at free will. So during our open farm days is when I sell my products, because we sell jams, candles, soaps, and then we have an open farm day coming up on Saturday. So before we open up for the morning, I'm going to record a farm shop tour for you guys. Right now it's kind of messy in there because I have all my tents and tables in there, and I don't have all my products set up. But in this red shed right here, we converted it into a little mini farm shop. So when I have all that set up, I'll show you guys exactly what we have for sale and how I display it inside the shop. But at some point when we started doing the open farm days, we quit all our farmers markets and we decided to just sell our products from our home and our Etsy shop. So this is where I have all my products, and then I usually set up a tent and table out here with our baked items, and I have like the animal food cups that people feed the animals. So it just has worked out way better because customers come to us, they get to experience our little farm and get to see our gardens and get to feed our animals, and then they get to support a local small business by shopping from our products. And if they want to, they're free to give a donation to our farm to help with feed costs and to help with animal care. But I don't force that on anybody. Usually we do really good with just receiving whatever everybody wants to give. I don't put a price on coming into our farm, because at the end of the day, it's just our homestead. It's not here for profit. It's our home, and I don't mind whatsoever sharing this experience with people who don't usually get to see animals up close and just having the learning experience of being around nature and being around farm animals and seeing people grow their own fruits and veggies. Now it does get kind of exhausting sometimes, especially with our Facebook page growing so much. Ever since we started doing the farm days, that's when it's starting to rain, so I'm gonna hide under here. That's when our farm page really started expanding, because we went from having 500 likes on our page to this year going up to, I think, 1,700 likes on our page. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it has definitely grown in the past year when we've really started concentrating on doing the open farm days more often. So it kind of gets exhausting with the constant messaging. People are always messaging us to visit our farm when it's not our open farm days. So that's kind of exhausting, having to repeat the same answers. But as for having open farm days, I don't mind having people here when we do set everything up. And I don't mind sharing the videos and sharing our experience and sharing the stuff we're harvesting, recipes using our homegrown things. I love doing all that stuff, and I love sharing our little farm with people, especially families. And the little kids, they just love it. They have the time of their lives here, feeding all the animals and petting them and just playing. And it's a nice little affordable trip for families, especially low-income families. Living here in Florida, it's like the only fun things to do. Seems like it's Disney, Universal, the theme parks, the water parks. This is a fun little different experience to have that doesn't really cost any money besides what people decide to purchase and support us with. And we've been blessed that people are very giving and generous with their donations, and it helps a lot. It helps purchase our feed and pay for their animal care, the foot trimmings, the hoof trimmings, and it helps us. My husband works full-time, and this is what I do to help with bills and to help pay their feed bill and our regular bills, our household bills. So I feel like I'm contributing to my family thanks to all our wonderful customers and guests that visit us, because we definitely would not be able to just do it out of pocket and not have the support from the community. And I'm just thankful that I get to actually sell from my home, from our little shop over here, instead of doing the farmers market thing, because the farmers market thing was very exhausting. First you need a large car, which we're lucky to have now, but back then we were stuffing everything in a small car, and you have to transport your tents, your tables, all your products. We had to bring the kids with us, and it was just very exhausting, and sometimes we didn't sell anything, and you always have to pay the vendor fees. So we do 1 or 2 events a year that we've done very well with, and those are like the only 2 events that I'll do outside of our farm home. Like one of them is it's a blueberry festival that we have every year, and we do really well with that because it's like a themed event, and we sell all of our products blueberry themed for that. But other than that, we only sell from here, from our Etsy shop, in-person sales, and it's just been a great experience to have like our own little farm shop. It's not really an official farm shop, but it's something we were able to start ourselves. And I've tried going commercial with our products. Definitely didn't like that route at all, because you have to make everything from a commercial kitchen. That's very expensive, and then you have to have the stress of selling your products in the stores and having to go and stock up and just keeping track of all that. I didn't like that experience at all, and all the fees for the licenses. And if you If your state has the cottage food law, I'll probably do another video on that, because that's how I sell my products with the Florida cottage food law. So it's definitely something to look up. I know not all states have it, but it's a wonderful program. In Florida here, I can sell up to $50,000 worth of products, which my sales don't even touch close to that, but I can sell up to that without having any special licenses or permits or anything. It's just as long as I label my products cottage food law and I follow all the rules with that, which they're very simple rules. And there's like a list of things you can and cannot sell. But it's definitely something to look at if your state has it, because that's how I run my whole entire business with the Florida cottage food law. And doing the online sales, I sell vintage farm decor items. I sell my soaps and candles. I'm not allowed to sell any food items like the jams and stuff like that online, but I can do in-person sale with those. So that's how we conduct our little small business. It's almost, I have to give credit to my husband because he helps sell the items and he helps on the open farm days, but other than that, it's a one-woman show. I handle most of the product making. I do all that. I do all the advertisements through Facebook, and I post all my, I run the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, the Instagram page. I do most of the gardening, and then as a family we do all the butchering and harvesting and cooking. So as for the business side, I mostly do it by myself, and it's been great. I don't have any complaints other than it does get exhausting with the social media, having to constantly be talking to people and answering their messages. But we're living our dream. We have our little homestead, we have our animals, we're growing our own produce. So this is what we dreamed about. I see ourselves in the future in a bigger property, like I've mentioned in other videos. Not sure if Florida is our forever home. We're thinking about maybe making a move in the future, or just a different location in Florida. So if you guys have any other questions on our farm, we're not a huge farm, we're just a little homestead, but our business has been very successful, and our farm tours and being able to do all that has been very successful. So I would love to share more about it. I'm not sure what else you guys would like to know, but just let me know in the comments and I can make different videos. I want to do a farm shop tour, and I want to do another video on the cottage food law and how you can start your own business doing that. And yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. I would love to help other people out. There are so many people that want to do this in their future, and if I could be of any help in answering questions or encouraging you and motivating you to start it, I would love to do that. I know it's about to start pouring over here, so I gotta get back inside. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for all our new subscribers, and make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.